non-access modifiers. So these we are going to see today: static, final, and abstract. Okay. Now the meaning of the first keyword, that is the static keyword, is that it is available with, you can have the variable, okay, method, or a class as static. Okay, variable, method, or class can be declared as static. Now when we'll see one by one how these things works. Whenever the variable is declared as a static variable, that means now it is not at all related with any object. That means it is now available to all the objects of a class. Okay, that means suppose in this main method, if I am saying, if I suppose I want to count how many number of objects are created for a particular class. Suppose this is a class A. Suppose I am saying this is class A, and I want to count how many number of objects of this class are getting created. Okay, so the variable that I need to declare is an instance variable. Okay, so int I, suppose I am declaring int I as a variable, or say counter. Okay, and then I will declare a constructor of this class, say zero argument constructor. Okay, and here I will increment whenever the counter is getting increase. That means whenever a new object is getting created, the counter will get increase. Okay, and that counter I will be fetching with the help of the object over here. So suppose now let us try to see whether this system works or not. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to create the object of class A. Suppose I am saying A is equal to new A. Okay, so that means now one object is getting created, and then I can write system dot out dot println. Okay, what is the value that I need to uh, print? That is the value of counter. Okay, and how I will be accessing the counter? With the help of a dot counter. Okay, so this is the value that I will be printing. Okay, so let us try to run this. Let's see if there are any errors or not. Okay, so the value of counter is 1. Now my task is how many number of times a object is getting created. Suppose I am creating this another object, this is a another object, then this is another object. So likewise I have created 4 objects. Okay, 1 2 3, these are the 4 objects, and a is one object. So these are the total 4 objects, and I am trying to print the value of counter. Okay, what is my expectation? My expectation is that I should get the output as 4. Why? Because I have created 4 objects. Here I have created 4 objects, so my expectation is there. Here I should get the value as 4. Now let us try to see what we get. Okay, now as we were expecting the value 4, but what the exact value we got? We got value 1. Why? Because these are the instance variable. दिस इज अ इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल. इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल मतलब क्या है? इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल का मतलब ये हो गया कि इस ए के पास इसका कॉपी है, इस A1 के पास इस काउंटर का खुद का कॉपी है, A2 के पास खुद का कॉपी है, A3 के पास इसका खुद का कॉपी है. So every time this constructor is getting called, the value of counter is getting incremented, but it is not retaining its previous value. Why? Because every object has its own copy of the counter. But that is not the case. What I want that how many number of times a constructor is getting called, that value should get incremented, keeping in mind what was its previous value. So I need to make a single change over here, that I need to declare this variable as a static variable. Okay. So the moment I am declaring this variable as a static variable, now I can write, instead of small a, capital A dot counter. What is the difference between small a dot counter and capital A dot counter? A dot counter मतलब क्या हो गया? A dot counter का मतलब क्या हो गया कि this is the variable which belongs to this reference variable. Okay, then A1 will have its own copy, A2 will have its own copy, A3 will have its own copy. So we can write this type of statement. Okay, but when I say capital A dot counter, it means now this is a static variable which is shared by all the objects of the class. That means there will not be any separate variable for each of these instances. Now this variable will be shared. Okay, ये variable क्या होगा? This variable will be shared amongst all the what you can say, the instances. And that is why whenever the this constructor is getting called, this constructor should increase the value by one, whatever the value previously held by it. Okay, so now let us try to run this again and try to see what is getting. Okay, so as you can see, the expected value was 4 and we got the value 4, getting this much. Okay, so this is nothing but your static variable. So variable को जब static लगाया जाता है तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि now it is getting shared amongst all the object, and it is not the instance of the object which will manipulates its own copy. Okay, it is going to be the common copy. Okay, it is going to be the common copy throughout the instances. Okay, so let us try to understand that if this is one of the copy. Okay, uh, just a minute. Okay, suppose this is one copy of say A. Okay, this is another copy of say A1, this is another copy of say A2. So each one will hold its own counter. So यहाँ पे क्या है, there is a counter, and these counter will be, here there will be one counter, here there will be another counter, here there will be another counter. Okay, the moment I made it static, now this scenario will totally change. This will not be the scenario. Now this all A1, A2, A3 will share only one copy called as a counter. ओके, तो यहाँ पे एक ही काउंटर रहेगा, इसलिए जब भी मैं यहाँ पे काउंटर प्लस प्लस बोल रहा हूं तो ये कॉमन कॉपी को मैनिपुलेट किया जा रहा है. एंड वेन एवर आई एम सेइंग that it is the non-static variable, then although these values are getting incremented, so it was 0, it is done 1, it was 0, it is done 1, it was 0, it is done 1, but it is not the common copy. Okay, it is not the common copy, it is the individual copy that is getting manipulated. Okay, so that is the difference between the static and non-static variable. Okay, then next is your variable. Then you can have a static method also. Okay, so in the same way, you have a static method wherein that static method will be called for the class as itself. Okay, so now whenever I am declaring a method as a static method, that means now that method will be shared amongst all the object. Okay, suppose I am declaring over here a method, say static int get value of counter. Okay, suppose this is the method which is static in nature, and I am just return what counter. Okay, so I will be just returning the value of the counter. Okay, and now instead of writing this a dot counter, what I will be writing, I can write a dot get value by. Okay, I can write get value of counter. Okay, so this is the method which is static in nature, so I can directly call it with the help of name of the class. Okay, so again the same thing is getting outputted. Okay, the moment I am skipping it as a non-static variable or non-static method, then you cannot call it with the help of this methodology, that is with the help of name of the class. You need to create the reference or the object first. So here what I need to write, I can write new a. Okay, so this is an anonymous object that I am creating, and then I can easily call this method. Okay, so as you can see, the value is getting printed as 5. Why? Because now it is getting incremented one by one. Okay, so that is your static. Now there is a final. Final means what? Whenever I want to declare any uh, not variable, it is a constant. Whenever I am saying final int say pi, final float or double, final double say pi is equal to 3.14. Suppose I want to declare this. Okay, then if I want to change the value of this pi, suppose I am writing pi plus plus. So this will throw the error. Why? Because I am trying to manipulate the constant which is declared as a what? As a constant. Okay, so you cannot write these type of statement. Suppose I put this statement over here, then also it will give the error. Why? Because you cannot फाइनल वेरिएबल की वैल्यू आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते हो. सो दिस बिकम्स अ कांस्टेंट, एज गुड एज कांस्टेंट. So wherever you want to add it, suppose here counter plus pi, suppose I want to add value of pi over here, then I can do it. Okay, so 3.14 will be added and then the counter will be written. Okay, so here I can. Okay, so you need to explicitly typecast it. Why? Because you are writing it in that way. Okay, so possibly lossy combination. So double to int. So that is the thing that the complete value will be lost over here. Why? Because it is in double and this is in integer. Okay, so you can see the value 8 is getting printed. So that is your final. Okay, and now whenever I am making a method as a final, suppose I am making this method as final. Okay, now suppose I am writing another class. That concept we hadn't seen yet till this time. Suppose I am writing class B extends A. Okay, that means now this is a child of A, and now if I want to override this method, okay, overloading अलग होता है, overriding अलग होता है. Okay, so suppose I want to overload this method, override this method. Okay, so if I am saying int get value counter, and here suppose I am saying return say 5. Okay, so this will not allow. Why? Because this method is final, so it will throw the error. Okay, so B cannot override the this. So this is the final method. That means none of the child class. So here the child class is B is a child class of A, and this B cannot override the method get value of counter. Why? Because it has been declared as a final. In the same way, when you declare any class as final, then it is not possible to inherit that class. Okay, suppose I am declaring this class as final. Okay, so forget about this. Now you will not be able to extend itself. Okay, so cannot inherit from final A. So as the class A is final, you are not allowed to subclass it. Okay, so whenever the method, so here what are the possibility? Variable. Okay, then it can be method or it can be a class. Okay, got this much?
Yes, sir.
So now the this abstract concept you will understand a bit. Time will be required. So for today we will not take up this concept. Okay. So you study these two concepts thoroughly, static and final, and then in next lecture we will do with the abstract.
Yes, sir.